One of the residents said to thank you for clearing the debris. Yeah, he said, Daryl.
Live stream is on.
How's it going, John? Okay, so we were supposed to have Rebecca Baker here for the work session, but she will not be attending this one. She'll be coming November 7th instead.
Rebecca.
Oh,
November 7th.
yeah. We have 18 pre-filed resolutions, one suspended resolution, 5 public hearings, 1 executive session, all dealing with the proposed and pending and current litigation. And I guess at this point, we'll open it up to any comments by our, Matt, by you?
Just we were graced with another community assistant visit from the DEC Floodplain Division. So November 17th, we'll be touring some locations throughout the town, see how our floodplain management program is weighing up to the standard.
Matt, the last one was 2017?
2017. It's no fun.
Staying around us.
Did they offer grants or anything to help pay for changes?
Well, it's not really a grant opportunity. This is more of like a walking along with you to see what you're doing, and they'll give you some assessments and some suggestions, and just see that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing here.
Okay.
Real quick, senior center, we finally, Friday I got the letter of no effect from SHPO. So I got 2 of the 3 nations out of the way, and late this afternoon I finally received a return call from the Seneca Yugas of Oklahoma, so I will wrap up with them tomorrow hopefully, and that will wrap up the environmental where we can resubmit to the state. Sterling Ponds, the bids are set. We're just waiting. I don't know what the time frame is to wait. I know the letters were going out from the attorney's office to the residents.
We haven't sent those letters yet. We were waiting to see what the actual process was going to be, and we've got some help coming from Hodgson Russ on that.
Okay. Well, the bids are ready, so as soon as I have dates, I can fix the dates and send it back out. Streetlights, Carmen and I actually talked today. He hadn't heard anything. We swapped contacts. He was going to reach out one more time, so I don't know if you got anywhere with them or not on the software.
I talked to Carmen, and he made a phone call to the company,
Yeah, I gave him the contact,
contractor.
yeah.
They're going to get him hooked up tomorrow morning on a system that he can use, because there's a lot of phone calls. People whose lights, haven't been, the street lights haven't been running for a long period of time.
Yeah, we
So,
can.
yeah, they're going to get him on there and get him hooked up, and if he can get a laptop, he'll be able to actually just drive out to whatever street light it is, and if it needs to be reset, just reset it, versus paying somebody to go out there and check it out, so.
Okay.
I think we'll be back in business tomorrow morning.
Okay. Historical building, we're moving ahead. The architect. The park on South Willie, or on Partridge. The wetland flagging is scheduled for the 19th, which is Wednesday. And as soon as that's done, then we can get the property and topo survey done. That'll be the next step for that parcel. Let's see, library is out for rebid. Historical Society County Grant, we met with them last week, county and town and the Historical Society. Got the work requirements, and we're just kind of waiting. We really can't do much until the town and county sign their contracts, which basically, the county said we're close to being sent out, so we'll see.
Yeah, so they should be getting a new HVAC system up there, is basically in the upper house, and then a whole bunch of different repairs out there at the school.
Yep. And then bids, we opened up Simi Road, and we opened up the traffic signal, and that was required to go after some funding for that one. Simi Road, I just submitted a recommendation, so hopefully next meeting I could be awarded for the culvert replacement. That was part of the bond this past spring. And that's it.
Okay, from the clerk's office, anything?
Well, for anybody who is watching, if you haven't paid your school taxes, you have till midnight to drop it in the drop box on Clark Street. After that, there's a 7.5% penalty for 2 weeks, and it goes up. after that.
Attorney's office, nothing? John, from Highway?
Yeah, we completed a project at the library. We put in some drainage over there, took some trees down, fixed some concrete, fixed the parking lot, and it came out excellent, in my opinion. And recently, we just finished with the Parks Department, the brickyard ball lineup. And, man, I gotta tell you, this team, the team that we had working there was just unbelievable. And we owe a lot of gratitude to everyone who stayed late, and Rich Roncone for helping us out. I think everybody's just gonna be absolutely thrilled with this.
Yeah, I actually took a walk by there, it looks really good.
Yeah, Michelle's got some pictures, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I took a picture, well, I should say Nate Roncone throwing the field at the end the next day because it was dark by the time we finished. But this is our end result by a drone picture.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Michelle, it's
An extra.
also investigating stuff while I was there. Can you check on that bench
Want this?
by
I need a copy for it.
furthest entrance? There's metal protruding out of it.
Where?
And the,
Yeah, right here?
no, a bench coming into the park. So, from Ransom,
On the bike
or,
path?
no, sorry, coming into Westwood.
Coming in off of Schwartz.
Yeah, off of Schwartz, yeah. That first bench on the left side.
Okay, I'll check it.
There's a metal, you'll see it, the corners, someone's gonna slice themselves up pretty good there.
I'll check it tomorrow.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Councilman Burkhardt and myself had an opportunity to go and look at the library. Looks great. That tree was a big problem. They used to have to shut down the stairs and, keep people from falling with the leaves and the ice on there. So the director, Kara Stock, was very happy that the town had taken care of that. Yeah, it looks good.
Talking to you, we wanted to do it. We're doing it, let's do it. So thank you
Yeah.
for helping us.
Thank you, Karen, said a very nice thank you to the department, and we really help on the board.
Great.
Also, on the parks and the recreation end side of it, we did get some school requests back. We will be running minimal, but some swim on Friday nights at the high school. Basically, senior swim and family swim. That is all we will be able to take ours for. We were going to try to throw lessons in on Tuesday night, but we can't get the staff for that. So senior swim will start, it was supposed to start Friday, but it's homecoming, so it starts the following week from 6 to 7, family swim from 7 to 9. Also, we were able to secure the middle school for volleyball. So volleyball, we are now accepting requests for teams. We have our canvas ahead of time, but anybody who knows of, I have a couple flyers, anybody who knows any teams looking to play volleyball, we are accepting them. It probably will not start until after Thanksgiving, but it is a go. Basketball is also a goal. We will be doing that at the Boys and Girls Clubs, both Pew and Lancaster. As you'll see from tonight's resolution, those people are for their basketball program. And a couple guards for our swim lessons. We did put it on the website and on Facebook to try to get people to run the program. But we are able to cover it with a lot of people who ran our summer program. So,
Michelle, we're taking applications for that already, for the basketball?
yes, we put it on the town's website, Facebook. We did it like within the last month. And basically, most of the people are returned. I think we
Yeah.
had one additional. Most of them are just the returns that it's a summer league that needs it. But we're able to move forward.
Great.
Okay.
And as far as brickyard, I also would like to thank both the highway and the rec. I mean, a lot of my crew and John's, well, for the crew of installing the sod, they stayed late hours. Their crew really came through for us. They were there till 7:30 at night, working to dark. Both Tuesday and Wednesday, we had to beat the weather, and it worked into our advantage with Nate and Rich Roncone and Katie Assad. Everything fell into place in the very narrow window, and we couldn't be more proud of our teams. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we'll go over the resolutions. The first one is mine, is to approve the minutes from the October 3rd meeting. Second one will be the approve the audit of claims during this period. Councilmember Mazur, number 3.
Yeah, it's to accept the biweekly building permit applications.
4 and 5, Councilmember Leary.
Number 4 is to confirm membership roster at the Bowmansville Fire Hall, volunteer fire. And the number 5 is to award the bid for a 2022 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter for the police department.
And number 6, Councilmember Mazur.
Is to schedule a public hearing for rezone at 5827 Broadway.
And 7 is to approve the increase in improvements of facilities in the Consolidated Water District, and that goes in hand with number 8, which is the bond resolution for that. And Councilmember Mazur, you have 9 through 11.
Number 9 is to set a public hearing on a special use permit at 4401 Walden Avenue. I'm sorry. That's number 9. Number 10 is to set a special use permit hearing for Donato Homes on Genesee Street. They're doing a project on Genesee Street. Number 11 is to resolicit bids for a Ford Escape for the building department.
Okay, 12 is to appoint Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department part-time people. And back to Councilmember Mazur for 13 through 15.
13 is to accept negative declaration on the Little Red Schoolhouse project that they're fixing up there. 14 is to adopt the negative declaration on Classic Tubes project. I believe it's on Walden Avenue. No, where is it? It's Classic Tube, I know that. Rotec Drive, I'm sorry. And 15 is to be the lead agency on the land use regulation law that we're working on.
And 16 is to accept the streetlights in Autumnwood Phase 1 subdivision. Councilmember Mazur, 17 and 18 to close this out.
17 is to award a bid for the Consolidated Water District System Improvement contract. And 18 is to approve the minor subdivision split on William Street.
And we have one suspended, it's by myself, and it's for the Community Block Development Program. And the reason why it had to be suspended is we were waiting for one of the bids to come in, the electrical portion, I believe it was on this one.
Oh, yeah, I know you
Yeah.
reached out to Mr. Price.
Yeah, so if we would have put it on, we had to eliminate the electrical portion, the town would have been responsible for it. So I chose to wait till we got it in and then put it on suspended. So, and that's it for the resolutions. So I guess we'll take a short break and reconvene at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
The live stream will continue.
Doing some stuff today. You guys saw, there's a big giant panel with all kinds of Christmas lights sitting on the door today. They gotta get a jump start. It takes a lot longer to put them up than it does to take them down. Take them down pretty quick. I know. I know some of them, they can't do that big snow cave. The trees are up. But luckily, a lot of the things that we used to do, there used to be those big window displays from AMAs and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
200-300 pounds. You had to be super careful because we had no one. They were 107 years old, so you had to be so careful that the slates still walking into something. Figures are it was nerve-wracking. I hated it. Yeah, because I'm like, let's break one of these things.
I don't know, you can see what it is. Somebody approached me about it.
It took up a lot of room.
Our study for the entire town. So, I think we should make that part of it. And they supposedly they look at everything from water pressure, county roads, our roads, the streets, having all these people. And again, they're doing the right thing, trying to cut down on the amount of developments that are around. So it would probably be a good study to be done and see how it comes out.
I mean, he wants to take us around and look at some swimming pools and some ponds that were installed without permits and that kind of thing. There's a morning session and an afternoon session on the 17th. Oh, I'm not sure if I'm
I think we gotta change
Gotta, yeah, what she's doing, so we gotta read it. But I think we did it before, the town's done it before, so if, yeah, take a look at it and see what it looks like.
Chambers.
Oh,
so you're speaking specifically that.
that's great. As long as
You're setting up here.
covers the things that we need.
Assuming it is done, there's an
Yeah, I know, yeah.
timeline, dates are all that. Getting through the site. How you doing? Hearing information. Excuse me. Get for setback. So
What were
They
they?
can go on the website for swim,
For which one was it?
senior swim, family swim, Friday nights.
So once that happens, that's when the planning board can
And the kids for volleyball
make
teams.
recommendations.
Do we have one, is there a co-ed or just one? That'll be at the middle school,
Middle school,
and this is gonna be at high school, right, you said?
that's at the high school.
Reverse? Friday nights?
It's in,
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with the
middle school and middle school.
what I'm not gonna get
I'm
back.
just thinking,
There's gonna be losses.
They told you you'd never be allowed, like, to go to state looking for.
That, I mean, the biggest thing you're gonna lose is this. Yeah. Now, did you reverse? Or yeah, so that's what you lose. You lose because I'm struggling with putting my balls right now.
agreement that might need to be
So I've been doing all physical therapy and going and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know.
Most of the teams,
The only answer is
except for a few.
you're telling me
no.
this is,
I was gonna ask.
Not the worst thing.
it's a lot. I mean, I couldn't even, during the last 14
Our numbers are still there, we're down like 30 in
I mean,
basketball, 10 over 15 kids.
I haven't slept on the shoulder in years.
9 to 12 still over, 9
No, I wouldn't say that. Yeah. You know, people sign up late.
No, I'm good, I have questions.
Yeah, if you want to sit in, yeah,
Just so I know where they are, what they're doing.
it's 10:30 now.
Once, I know,
Planning board.
no,
What you submitted today for Arctic was storm.
this week, I'll stop. See you.
It was filed by the counties from the storm. That's good.
I know.
Get going. You know, we're running out of season here. Yeah, good. That's good.
Great to meet you.
Hey, Matt, you have a minute?
From Butler? Yes. Oh, good. Okay.
He called me from his cell number, he told me about 5 o'clock.
All right, that's good. As long as you got a contact, that was good.
He starts at 6 in the morning.
Okay.
And we'll call about 7:30.
Okay.
We're gonna go through all my list of lights,
Okay.
and we're gonna see what we can do tomorrow morning.
All right.
And then I'll
Well, I'm just gonna, I'm ready to email you. And,
Hey, Chick.
yeah, it's okay. Can we do that tonight?
Diane, I ran into Carlo.
Tonight, three? Okay, I'll see you at 9:30. I gotta meet with my. That works.
wanted to let you know because I talked to you.
Yeah, well, like I said, I communicated with him.
Yeah, he called me.
Good.
508.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Every once in a while, yeah, maybe.
But he looked up something, he said, I see 38, road is out. Yeah, I know that's.
Yeah.
I know that's 503 lane. I'm like just scrambling numbers that people just got.
And like, did you ever touch base with PCNG?
Yeah.
They have a list of what they were doing for the broadband. That's what I was saying. My gut tells me some of the small you're getting your problem. They got to figure out what they're saying.
So I guess these are
Just a,
not working.
Well, yeah, the issue is the PCNG puts them up. I think they're time. It's a combination. PCNG can tell you all the ones they put back up. Okay. Nice thing.
thanks for putting that back. You know, I've been friends with
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah.
Once I get
Yeah, you need to get a list. And I would just reach out to the project manager, PCG, and he can cross-reference that for you. I do, yeah.
All right, if I can get that tomorrow morning,
Yep.
get it shared. Obviously, you can have that.
Yeah, no, I'll bring it with me. See you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come tomorrow, I'll pick up.
All right. I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. To me, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's non-stop.
But if I,
Yes,
Yeah, once you get caught up in anything, it's
He
just,
lives around the corner.
yeah, so I'll not share it.
yeah.
Enjoying his retirement.
Let's see if I can get it.
Yeah, because he was a Buffalo teacher. I think, I know he's a teacher. I think.
All right, that works.
All right.
Already there. See
We
it.
changed the name of our area, our street lighting thing to, just had to text it to Rob Biggs. It's, same name, it's Stony Brook, but it's,
Oh, Stony Brook, the lighting thing?
yeah, it's now gonna be,
Chilman still live or they moved?
they moved. Stony Brook Legendary Lights.
Big week, right? Homecoming week?
Bonfire was canceled today.
Oh, was it? The weather, yeah. Oh, I know. I was coaching it, we got through it, it just started. I'm like, oh my God, God's with us.
Thunder,
I mean, it was, my hands were free. I mean, just standing there, freezing.
thunder, and like all of a sudden all this hair.
And it just rained, and like, oh my God, I'm so happy I made it to my car before it started raining. Oh, well. Fine. Most people. Except for the buggers.
Well, he came today. I think I sent it to Bob.
She collects 100 years.
And he tells me that Westwood,
Where already came from Honduras.
I know, that's crazy.
Where already came from Honduras. What did I do is put a one system, which is what was it, $1,500.
Yeah, that's,
That's for both offices.
this way, because you know, what's happening, 2 meetings in a row, 2 board meetings, is after you leave, the alarm goes off in the tax office. I came back one time by myself, and with Carmen on the phone.
yeah, just in case, yeah.
And it was fine, you know.
Yeah, no, it's something that you can take care of.
This way, I can look at my phone, and I'll be able to see pictures of it.
Yeah.
And nobody's in there, nothing's broken.
Yeah.
give her access, don't put alarm
Yeah,
systems. so
it's sounds like a no-brainer to me.
So that's my,
Okay, I get it. It's hard with doing the tax thing and all.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Especially today. Cherry, so cherry going. Really just fabulous.
the guy called me. So he's going to call me tomorrow morning at 7:30. He's going to walk me through the heart of the street level. So we're going to work on that tomorrow.
So, hey, I'll tell you this. I know, well, yeah, I hear you, I know.
The body's got it.
Heat. Not the heat.
So anything before that, I claim.
Who was the officer before you? I was.
But he was just. There's training.
Yeah, there's training.
Certification. I did that specifically
They've never posted it. We sent in the last video was They had. I never posted it because it's something back to them saying, looks good, okay, you know.
great to acquire.
I bet. I mean, we just posted it. Move on the phone. Size of the old one.
This or that?
Either.
Call the meeting in order. On the roll, Diane?
Councilmember Burkhart, Councilmember Dickman.
Here.
Councilmember Leary.
Here.
Councilmember Mazer.
Here.
Supervisor Rufino.
Here. The pledge and invocation will be led by Town Clerk Diane. Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Since we just celebrated Columbus Day, I have two quotes from two indigenous people. This is from Blackfoot. What is life? It is the flash of a firefly in the night. It is the breath of a buffalo in the wintertime. It is the little shadow which runs across the grass and loses itself at the sunset. And from Chief Seattle Duwamish, humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect. Thank you.
Tonight's meeting, we have 18 pre-filed resolutions, 1 suspended resolution, 5 public hearings, 1 executive session. We'll be closing in memory of 2 people, Nancy Tomzak and George B. Meseros. We have time for maybe one person, if they'd like to speak on the pre-filed resolutions or the suspended one, then we're going to get right into our public hearing since we have 5 of them. Anybody like to speak on any of the pre-filed? Last for a second time? And a third time. Okay. start a couple resolutions. Okay, I'd like to move resolution number 1. This resolve the minutes of the regular meeting of the town board held October 3rd, 2022, being hereby approved. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rafino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 2, and this resolve the following audit claims being hereby ordered paid from the respective accounts as per abstract to be filed in the office of the town clerk by the assistant supervisor. It's check run number 10172022. Total amount hereby authorized to be paid is $1,022,234.96. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rafino?
Yes. Councilman Mazer, number 3, please.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Be it resolved that the following building permit applications be and are hereby reaffirmed. There's a total of 62 in the town and village, 45 in the town, 17 in the village. Be it further resolved that the building department permit applications, hearing coded CSW for the conditional sidewalk waiver, being hereby reaffirmed with a waiver of the town ordinance required for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition that the town of Lancaster, at any future date, reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property owner.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rafino?
Yes. Councilman Leary, number 4 and 5, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Supervisor and honorable town board members, I move the following resolution for adoption. Whereas the Bowmansville Fire Department Fire Association, by letter dated October 3rd, 2022, has requested the addition of 2 members and the deletion of 2 members to the roster of said fire association. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby confirms the additions to the membership of the Bowmansville Fire Association the following individuals: Jonathan E. Heyman, Robert P. Callaway. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby confirm the deletions to the membership of the Bowmansville Fire Association the following individuals: Andrea Wick and Athena Mohammed.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rafino?
Yes.
Number 5, I move the following resolution for adoption. Whereas the town board has previously duly advertised for bids for the purchase of 1 new and unused 2022 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, either all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, for use by the town of Lancaster Police Detective Bureau. Whereas 1 bid was received, opened, and reviewed on September 29th, 2022. Whereas by letter dated October 6, 2022, Sean Dominio, Detective Lieutenant in the town of Lancaster Police Department, has recommended awarding the bid for the 2022 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van to Mercedes-Benz of Buffalo, being the sole responsible bidder in the amount of $78,921.50. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster, upon the recommendation of Detective Lieutenant Sean Dominio, hereby awards the bid for 1 new and unused 2022 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, model number 2022 MXCAEX, either all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, to Mercedes-Benz of Buffalo, located at 8185 Main Street, Williamsville, New York, as it conforms to the specifications on file in the office of the town clerk, for a total amount not to exceed $78,921.50, and which will be paid with funds available in the town's 2022 police equipment passenger vehicle budget.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rafino?
Yes. Okay, we're going to pause and we're going to move to our public hearings. May I have a motion to open the first public hearing, which is on the special districts?
Motion to open the hearing?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, I'll read the notice. Notice hereby given that the town board of the town of Lancaster, New York, has completed its estimates and assessment role relating to special districts spreading cost on a benefit basis, and is filed saying with the town clerk for the following districts for the year 2023. Consolidated Water Districts, Consolidated Lighting District number 1, Fire Protection District, and Refuge and Garbage District. And further notice is given that a public hearing on such estimates and assessment roll will be held on October 17th, around 7:05 PM at the Town Hall, at a time with place where the board will meet to hear and consider any person's interest in the subject matter. So at this point, I'll ask if anybody want to speak on the special district's budget. And I'll ask for a second time. And a third time. Okay, can I have a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion to close the hearing?
May I have a second?
Second?
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, we're going to move on to the second one. May I have a motion to open the second public hearing, which has to do with our preliminary budget.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Is everyone, read the notice? Notice hereby given that a preliminary budget of the town of Lancaster for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2023 has been filed in the office of the town clerk here at 21 Central Avenue, where is available for inspection by any interested persons during office hours. Further notice is given that a public hearing on the preliminary budget of the town of Lancaster for the year 2023 be held by this town board at the town hall on October 17th, 2022. At such time, any person may be heard in favor or against the preliminary budget as compiled, or for or against any item or items therein contained. Does anybody want to speak? Oh,
Mr. Supervisor, I have 4 recommended changes.
okay.
Okay. The first one is change line item 1670403, change it from $18,650 to $21,650. It basically is the town board, in conjunction with the master planning committee, has been making many changes to the code. Many of these changes are large and add whole new sections, which more than just changing the words in a section. So this is for printing, and what else was it, Diane? Printing, and is that the line?
Well, and for changing the code online.
Yeah, changing the code online as well. The second recommendation is to move $29,537 from Assistant Dog Control Officer line 3510.103 to 3510.100 in order to add an additional full-time dog control officer. The total line will then go from $84,524 to $114,062. And then add line 3510.103 will then change from $39,936 to be $10,399. Basically, we're moving money that's already in the assistant dog control officer line up to the full-time dog control officer line, and all the full-time dog officers are under one specific line. So there's no money being added at this point. We're just changing it from one to the other. That money is being requested to hire the full-time officer, and then the next recommendation is to add $10,000 to the assistant dog control officer for a total after the change to be $20,399. Again, what we're doing is hopefully hiring a third person, a second assistant, but a third full-time person in dog control. They will work a particular schedule, which will cover everything that needs to be covered during the week, and we're looking for 2 part-time people on the weekend, so we got to cover 16 hours. The money left in there isn't quite enough to cover the 16 hours for weekends for 52 weeks, so that's why we want to add an additional $10,000 in there. Yes, so those part-time people will just be available 16 hours a week. If for some reason the people on the weekends can't work, then our third assistant dog control officer, somebody in there is going to have to cover for that on the weekends. So we think it's a better idea to do it this way. We can't get enough part-time people. They seem to come in there for a short period of time and quit. This way, with a third full-time person who's going to be well-trained, they'll have more incentive. They'll be there. They'll be trained for it. They'll be getting paid to work full-time. And we think that would be a better way to handle the dog control facility. And it really, other than for you got to account for health care benefits, we think this is the best way to do it. And to this particular area, again, I'm asking for $10,000 just to make sure there's enough in there for the assistants. And then the last change that I'm asking for is change the cap line 3120 -100, where it says change captains from, it says 2 right now. We want to add a 3rd captain to the police department, and the chief of police is here, and I'll call upon him to explain why he needs a 3rd captain at this point. Chief?
So when I started back in 1996, we had 2 captains and a chief. Since that time, we've added 27 personnel to our department. We still have 2 captains and a chief. The administrative task is daunting for the 3 of us to handle. So I've asked for an additional captain to help to handle administrative tasks, disciplinary issues, things of that nature. As a comparison, West Seneca, which is our neighboring town, has 10 more officers than we do. They have 4 captains, an assistant chief, and a chief. So I think 1 captain would assist us greatly in maintaining accreditation and also our efficiency as a department.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for the chief? Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay, so I'm going to comment. I put together a fairly conservative budget. I did tell the board members we had a little money to spend, but not this much. What this will do to us now is we'll be below the tax cap by $7,078. You got to learn to say no sometimes. As far as dog control, I know the chief used the comparison. I looked at other towns with dog control. They don't have any full-time people. Clarence does have 2 full-time people, but they are animal control officers because they do not have a police department. They carry and they're able to, and again, not just dogs, it's animals. So they have 2 full-time people. Other areas that I checked with, they do not have full-time people, certainly not 3. We just added a 2nd one recently, and now we're adding a 3rd one. I think some other departments are starving for help more than dog control. You have to stop investing into this department that has been going up every year substantially. Where do we draw the line here? It's just not being done right. And again, look at other towns. We are going to be the highest line item as far as dog control line item with other townships. Cheektowaga is at about $120,000. We're at $130 right now without adding another one. Now, Bob, you failed to mention, when you go to full-time, you also have to put in the benefits and all that package. That jumps it up too.
I think I did mention that.
But that jumps it up. It's not just the salary that gets jumped up. It's the other part of the package too. So again, this is not conservative in my nature, but the way I see it, 3 people in that department just is way overstaffed. And sorry, we need to get by with what we had. I think 2. I think 1 person and the part-timers, we're fine. I was against the 2nd hiring because, again, I looked at other towns. Now, I don't just say I'm against it. I looked at other townships. I provided each town board member with sheets of other departments or other townships with that department. And again, we were way over everybody else. So now we're going to go way more over. I don't get it. So that's my comment. Again,
Well,
this board's going to...
if I could respond, I think it's just a smarter use of what we've already invested in dog control. We put a new facility in for dog control. We're not, we're taking the part-time salary and we're putting it as to a full-time person. Yes, there's going to be health and benefits involved in that. But again, we haven't been able to keep the part-time dog control people that we've had. We need people who are experienced, who are trained to go out and do what needs to be done. So we think it's just a smarter use of the monies that we already have invested in the dog control facility and the dog control officers. Thank you.
I have 2 people in my office running basically supporting the whole supervisor office. But anyway, anybody else like to speak on this? Please come up to the podium, state your name and address.
I am Barbara Blajeski, 43 Newell Avenue, Lancaster, and I am delivering prepared remarks from Lee Chawaniak, who, due to health and mobility reasons, is unable to come and deliver these thoughts and comments on his own. I read the following. The 2023 Budget Public Hearing Questions, Comments. Who does not like a budget proposal with an estimated increase of 1.11%, an increase of $9 per 100,000 of assessed property valuation? who would complain? That should not detract from reviewing the budget and determining how we got to the bottom line. Therefore, these questions and comments for clarification. Preliminary budget. Have the added corrections, revisions to the tentative budget been accepted by the board? Are we now holding this on an actual preliminary budget? Will the assessed tax increase be impacted by the corrections? Wages and benefits. Except dispatch, I am correct in assuming union contract negotiations are continuing. Regardless of contract negotiations outcome, does this budget proposal include funding coverage for wage and benefit adjustments to come? Line items not presently accounted for in this budget. Revenues increased by $1.8 million this year, and the fund balance revenue at the same time last year is nearly $2 million more. Is this growth from normal increase or fueled by federal stimulus revenue? If the stimulus revenue is being used to offset labor contracts, is it a one-shot for 1 year or to cover the life of the contract, 4 years? So this added increase will be kicked down the road for taxpayers 1 or 4 years from now. Page 2, summary appropriations revenues. Column increase/decrease, BOTB over BOTB. Question. Column tentative budget versus P/Y amendment. Could you please clarify the meanings of these statements? Debt service. It was pleasing to see that the debt load decreased by a few $1 million. Thank you.
Ma'am, can I ask again, how do you spell your last name?
B. Lazejewski.
And it's 43?
Newell, Newell.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our Director of Finance, Pam Pugliello, up here, if anybody has any questions. Anybody else like to speak? I'll ask for a second time and a third time. I'm going to ask for a motion to close the preliminary budget.
Motion to close?
Second.
Second. On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to open the third public hearing, which is on, where am I? The rezone of 6218 Broadway Street.
Motion to open the hearing.
May I have a second?
Second?
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to the town law of the state of New York and pursuant to a resolution of the town board of the town adopted on October 3rd, 2022, the said town board will hold a public hearing on the 17th day of October at Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, to hear all interested persons upon the following proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance and zoning map of the town of Lancaster. Rezoning the following described real property from an agricultural residential district to a light commercial for a property located at 6218 Broadway Street within the town of Lancaster, New York. All persons interested are invited to attend and will be heard. Written comments may be submitted to the town of Lancaster, town clerk, in care of the Planning and Zoning Committee, Councilmember Chair Dave Mazer. Anybody like to speak on this public hearing?
Kevin Lemester, 720 Schwartz. On this, we're going to a commercial from residential agricultural. I don't know exactly what type of building is being built there, but Matt, whatever the building that's there, could that building be put on a residential lot?
Not as it's proposed right now.
What would need to be changed to keep it residential?
The use and occupancy classification of the building.
So it's basically a classification that's holding, that needs to be done, because if I'm understanding it, and tell me if I'm wrong, he wants to use it to store his cars, show his cars with an office up above.
Correct.
So it's a modified patio home.
No. No, it's a commercial building.
You're saying people don't have garages that are bigger than a two-car below a house?
They do, but they're associated with their primary use on that building. Typically, it's a single or two-family residential structure.
So this is a single family, and he can put his 6 cars below it?
No, it's a vacant lot right now.
I'm going to ask, I know it's a vacant lot, because it'll become a Tim Hortons. I'm asking the board to turn around and not accept this. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak on this public hearing? I'll ask for a second time.
Yeah, I'd like to speak. I represent the applicant for this.
Please come up, state your name and address.
My name's Chris Saley. I represent Kyle Bonasic, who lives at 5520 William Street in Lancaster. He is the petitioner for the rezone application for 6218 Broadway. I'd just like to address any potential concerns regarding this project or this building. The intended use of this is, as was indicated, for classic car storage. It's basically going to be a storage facility. There is going to be office space inside of it. It's going to be very limited hours, limited use. It's, as was kind of indicated to the planning board, there's not going to be a lot of activity at the property. There's not going to be any sort of creation or disposal of any sort of hazardous waste relating to automotives. There's not going to be oil changes, services, things like that done. It's going to be private storage, drive in, drive out, get your car, and then also office space for my client who currently doesn't have sufficient office space at his current location and would like to just kind of expand on that.
So no types of repairing going on at all?
No. It is strictly, effectively climate-controlled storage for vintage and collector automobiles or any kind of automobile for that matter.
I do have a question. I thought it was for his vehicles. Are you saying it's going to be leased out to other individuals to put their vehicles in there?
No, it's going to be primarily for his.
Well, primarily doesn't mean only. You mean only for his or primarily for his, and there could be other ones coming in there?
There's not going to be any leasing or anything like that going on. It'll be for his vehicles.
Just as he owns the vehicles, he wants to display those vehicles, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And when he's done, sometime down the road, what's going to happen to the property at that point?
I mean, that's hard to say. It's an open-ended question. I mean, it's going to be a pretty nice building, pretty nice storage facility, but it's only going to be built and designed to basically be a storage facility. So if it were needed to be transformed into something else, it would have to come back in front of the town of Lancaster, I would assume, for permitting and things like that. So it's pretty much kind of an open-ended question I can't exactly answer, but I don't see the applicant intending to get rid of this building anytime in the near future.
Okay, so you can assure the residents, if we do change the zoning on that, it's not going to become a Tim Hortons or some other commercial building put in that spot?
That's correct. It's a very specific application.
Okay, and we're willing to put that in writing somewhere legally that, once he's done doing that or the family is done, whatever, that it will not be sold for that purpose? Because again, you're asking us to change it. I guess we could change it back at the end whenever he is done with it, but we want some assurances for the residents who do have concerns that, something else could come in there since it's a commercial development.
Absolutely. Kyle, would you like to speak to that point?
Yeah. I can't predict the
You
future.
have to come up, please. Name and address.
Kyle Vanasek, 5520 William Street, petitioner for the rezone for 6218 Broadway. I cannot predict the future, but what I can do is tell you that I've been working on this since April of 2021 when I put a deposit on the property, and we are still talking about all of these things. To your concern, sir, there is never going to be a Tim Hortons on that property. I don't drink coffee, and I don't care about Tim Hortons. I'm trying to find a place to house my vehicles in a small office on the first floor. To your reference, sir, about it being a glorified patio home, there's going to be no shower, no residence there at all. The zoning was to light commercial for an office warehouse space, and that's simply what it would be.
Okay, I think what he was asking for is, instead of even changing the zoning, if you put a living, area in there, would it just stay residential?
Certainly
So that was the
understandable.
question.
Certainly understandable, but that is not the intent of the project.
Okay, and again, at the end of this whole thing, you have no intention of selling that property? if we
Not
change
after
it?
all of this, to be candid.
Okay, and somehow or other, we get that in writing, that when you leave that we do whatever we want with that property back to, other than you get your money back for whatever, they'd have to come through us anyways, but,
It's going to be a permanent structure, so I highly doubt that someone would buy it and demolish it based on the investment it's forecasted to be. But again, I cannot predict the future. I'd be happy to sign that it won't be a Tim Hortons or McDonald's or anything, but really predicting the future is an impossibility.
understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak on this public hearing? It's for a second time and a third time. Can I have a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion to close.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carried.
I have a motion to open the fourth public hearing, which is special use permit telecommunication tower location at Transit Road.
Motion open, I'm sorry.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to the authority set forth in Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, 400-78 Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster on the 3rd day of October 2022. The said Town Board will hold a public hearing on the 17th day of October 2022 here at Town Hall for the purpose of considering and possibly approving a special use permit application for a telecommunications tower co-location by Centerline Communications with American Tower LLC on behalf of Verizon Wireless on the current tower located at 00 Transit Road. Copies of the proposed application can be reviewed at Lancaster Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue. Anybody want to speak on this public hearing? I'll ask for a second time and a third time. May I have a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion to close?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Can I have a motion to open public hearing number 5, which is the increased improvements of Consolidated Water District Community Development Block Grant Funds?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, so Town of Lancaster holds a public hearing to increase the improvements of the facilities of the Town of Lancaster Consolidated Water District 2022, whereas the Town Board of Town of Lancaster in the County of Erie, New York, has pursuant to town law created the Town of Lancaster Consolidated Water District, whereas the Town Board has directed William Shutt Associates, competent engineers licensed in New York, to prepare a map and plan and report for a water system capital improvement project within the district. And whereas such water systems capital improvements project will generally consist of approximately the installation of approximately 4,700 linear feet of water main along various roads in the town, along with the installation of flight hydrants, valves, and appurtenances, as well as the other such improvements as more fully identified in such map, plan, and report prepared by William Shutt. All the foregoing to include necessary site work, equipment, apparatus, and the other improvements and costs incidental thereto, and in connection with the financing thereof. And whereas pursuant to the direction of the town, the engineer has completed and filed with the town board such preliminary map, plan, and report for such increase in improvements of facilities of the district, and has estimated the total cost thereof to be estimated maximum amount of $1,350,000. Said cost is financed by the insurance of serial bonds of the town in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $1,350,000, offset by any federal, state, county, and/or local funds. So I'll ask anybody if they'd like to speak on this public hearing. I'll ask for a second time and a third time. I have a motion to close this public hearing.
Motion to close?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. I'm gonna jump back to official reports. With any official reports? Any report of town
Just
board
the,
committee?
just the Recreation Committee, what Diane was talking about earlier. The Recreation Department is at open swim and senior swim set up starting next Friday, not this Friday, at the high school. You can sign up online, and also basketball at the middle school the signups are still going on, and that will start in a couple weeks. And finally, I'd like to say thank you to the hardworking guys out in the Highway Department and the Rec Department for finishing up Brickyard and getting that into a nice, beautiful refurbished facility.
And I'll second that for the work that was done at the library. They're very happy inside there on the side of the building. They put in a new sidewalk, fixed the stairs, took a tree down that caused all sorts of problems with leaves and stuff falling on these stairs that go down there. A lot of people could slip, fall, the icing. They properly drained it, so it's much better shape than it was before. So thank you again to the Highway Department.
And just a little update on, I know I spoke to Highway Superintendent Pilato. There's been a lot of complaints with Creek, and I know there was issues about how to get in there. It took some time, but the Highway Department did go in there. I got a thank you letter from one of the residents over there, thanking very much for the job that was done. They actually showed me a picture of all the brush that was taken out. So again, you know, things like this don't get done overnight. I know patience is a virtue. I know I was going back and forth with the Highway Superintendent. They were getting a lot of complaints, and he's like, we're working on it. We have to see what we can do, what we can't. This is just the start of that. You know, this was more or less temporary relief. But there's a lot more work that has to be done, and it's kind of out of our scope of work now at this point. So, again, thank you to your group that took care of that. I'm sure, like I said, the residents are very happy with the work that's been done, and it should make for a much nicer spring for them as we move forward. So, okay, we're going to carry on with the resolutions, and we left off with Councilmember Mazer with number 6.
Yes, number 6. Mr. Supervisor and Arnold Town Board, I offer the following resolution and move forward to the option. Whereas Lucas James has petitioned the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster for a rezone of the parcel of land located at 5827 Broadway, Lancaster, New York, from light commercial to multifamily residential mixed use for the proposal construction of approximately 18,000 square foot building with 8 apartments and 4 retail office space. And whereas the petition has been referred to the Planning Board of the Town of Lancaster for its recommendation and was reviewed at their October 5th, 2022 meeting pending the results of the Town Board's public hearing. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to sections 130 and 265 of the New York Town Law, a public hearing on the proposed rezone will be held at Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, on the 7th day of November at 7:05 p.m. local time, that notice of the time and place of such hearing be published in the local newspaper in general circulation in said town and be on the town bulletin board, and that notice of such hearing be referred to the Erie County Department of Planning pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rafino?
Yes. I'd like to move, resolution number 7, this has to actually do with the public hearing that we just did. Now therefore be it resolved and determined by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster based on the information provided at the public hearing as follows. Determined that it is in the public interest to increase and improve the facilities of the district as herewith and above described and referred to as the estimated maximum cost of $1,350,000 is hereby determined that the parcels and lots of the district shall be benefited by said increase and improvements of facilities of the district, and is hereby determined that all parcels and lots benefited by said increase and improvement of facilities are included in the district, and is hereby ordered that the facilities of the district shall be increased and improved, and that the engineer shall prepare plans and specifications and make a careful estimate of the expense of such increase and improvements of facilities, and with the assistance of the town attorney, prepare a proposed contract for the execution of the work, which plans and specifications, estimate and proposed contract shall be presented to the town board as soon as possible. And it is hereby further ordered that the expense of the district improvement shall be financed by the issuance of serial bonds of the town in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $1,350,000, said amount to be offset by any federal, state, county, and/or local funds received, unless paid from other source or charges. Where are we? The cost of said increased improvements of facilities shall be paid by the assessment, levy, and collection of special assessments from the several lots and parcels of land within the district, which the town board shall determine and specify to be especially benefited thereby so much upon and from each as shall be in just proportion to the amount of benefit conferred upon the same, to pay the principal and the interest on said bonds as the same shall become due and payable except as provided by law. And is hereby further ordered the town board may establish water rents as provided in paragraph D of subdivision 3 of Town Law, Section 198, and further ordered that within 10 days after adoption of this resolution and order, the town clerk will record with the clerk of the county of Erie a copy of this resolution and order certified by town clerk. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 8. This is the bond resolution dated October 17, 2022 of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster, Erie County, New York, a capital improvements project, authorizing a capital improvements project within the Town of Lancaster Consolidated Water District, an estimated maximum cost of $1,350,000, and authorizing the issuance of serial bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $1,350,000 of the town pursuant to the local finance law to finance said purpose. Said amount be offset by any federal, state, county, and/or local funds received, and delegating the power to issue bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the sale of such bonds to the town supervisor. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question. On the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazer, you have number 9 through 11.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I have for the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas Valdemar Blazak, on behalf of Empire Custom Kitchen Cabinets, has submitted an application for a special use permit to operate a custom cabinet and countertop manufacturing, storage, and retail sales facility on the premises located at 4401 Walden Avenue, Lancaster, New York, currently zoned light industrial. And whereas in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 400, Article 6, Industrial Districts, Section 400-20, Light Industrial District of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, any storage facility for raw materials used in production and finished products are required to obtain a special use permit within that zoning classification. Now therefore it be resolved as follows, that pursuant to to Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 78, Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, a public hearing on the proposed special use permit to allow custom cabinet and countertop manufacturing, storage, and retail sales facility on the premises locally known as 4401 Walden Avenue, Lancaster, New York, will be held on the 7th day of November, 2022 at 7:05 p.m. local time, and the notice of the time and place of such hearing be published in a newspaper of general circulation in said town and posted on the town bulletin board, and that a copy of such notice of hearing be referred to the Erie County Department of Planning pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made part hereof.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I have the resolution number 10 for its adoption. Whereas Fred Donato, on behalf of Donato Homes Incorporated, has submitted an application for a special use permit to operate a 13-unit storage building with office and 4 warehouse shop office buildings on the premise locally known as 5841 Genesee Street, Lancaster, New York, currently zoned light industrial. And whereas in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 400, Article 6, Industrial Districts, Section 400-20, Light Industrial District of the Code of Lancaster, Town of Lancaster, any public storage and warehouse storage facilities are required to obtain a special use permit within that zoning classification. Now therefore be it resolved as follows, that pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 78, Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, a public hearing on the proposed special use permit to allow public storage and warehouse storage facilities on the premises locally known as 5841 Genesee Street, Lancaster, New York, will be held on the 7th day of November, 2022 at 7:05 PM local time, and the notice of the time and place of such hearing be published in a newspaper of general circulation in said town and posted on the town bulletin board, and that a copy of such notice of hearing be referred to the Erie County Department of Planning pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which notice shall be in the form attached here to and made part hereof.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution number 11, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas Matt Vachon, Code Enforcement Officer of the Town of Lancaster, by letter dated October 6, 2022, has requested authorization to resolicit bids for the purchase of one new and unused 2022 Ford Escape SE four-wheel drive for the use by the Building Department, as no bids were received for the previous request. And whereas the Town Board has given due review and consideration to the request and deems it in the public's interest to invite public bids in conformance with the General Municipal Law 103 of the State of New York, now therefore it be resolved as follows, that bids shall be received in the office of the Town Clerk by October 27, 2022, at 10 a.m. local time, at Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, for the purpose of purchasing one new and unused 2022 Ford Escape SE four-wheel drive for the use of the Building Department in accordance with its specifications on file in the Town Clerk's office, and two, that the Town Clerk be and is hereby authorized to place a notice of two bidders in the Lancaster Bee and post notices thereof as required by law, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made part of.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 12, be it resolved the following individuals are hereby appointed to the following part-time permanent positions in the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department of the Town of Lancaster, working not more than 19 3/4 hours per week, that these being part-time positions provide no health insurance, sick days, vacations, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time employees. There's 3 rec attendants and 4 lifeguards. Be it further resolved, the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazur, number 13 through 15, please.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board is considering the rehabilitation of the historic Lancaster School District Number 6 grant application project submitted by Karen Sutton, President of the Lancaster Historical Society, on a 1.5-acre parcel located at 3703 Bowen Road, consisting of replacing the roof and heating and cooling systems, upgrading the handicap ramp, and repairing the exterior masonry. And whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of the rezone project pursuant to seeker regulations at their meeting October 5th, 2022, and recommended that a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the Town Board has duly considered the plans for the grant rehab project using the long environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in seeker regulations, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board, and whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas, has made a reasoned elaboration on the basis for its determination, and whereas the proposed action has been labeled a Type 1 action under seeker, now therefore be it resolved by the Lancaster Town Board that, number 1, based upon the Town Board's thorough and careful review of the historic Lancaster District Number 6 grant project located on 1.5-acre parcel at 3703 Bowen Road, which involves the replacing of a roof and heating and cooling system, upgrading the handicap ramp, and repairing the exterior masonry, will not result in any significant environmental impacts, and hereby issues a negative declaration pursuant to seeker for the reasons stated therein. 2, the Town Clerk shall file a copy of a neg deck declaration in the file for the project. 3, the Town Attorney's Office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. And number 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes.
Resolution number 14, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board is considering the approval of the proposed amended site plan application submitted by Paul Fix on behalf of Classic Tube to expand the current operations by constructing an 18,800 square foot building and a 77,483 square foot paved area used for parking to create an additional 22 spaces to the existing facility located at 80 Rotec Drive in the town of Lancaster. And whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of this project pursuant to seeker regulations at their meeting October 5th, 2022, and recommended that a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the Town Board has duly considered the plans for the expansion of the project using the long environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in seeker regulations, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board. And whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas, and has made a reasoned elaboration for the basis of its determination, and whereas the proposed action has been labeled an unlisted action under seeker, now therefore be it resolved by the Lancaster Town Board that number one, this project is described as the proposed expansion of the current operations by constructing an 18,800 square foot building and a 7,483 square foot paved area used for parking to create additional 22 spaces to existing facilities located at 80 Rotec Drive, will not result in any large or important impacts, and therefore is an action which will not have any significant adverse impact on the environment, and therefore the board issues the attached negative declaration of environmental significance for the reasons stated therein. 2, the town clerk shall file a copy of the negative declaration in the file for the project. 3, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner with all required New York State and Erie County agencies following the copy of the letter of transmittal. And number 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes.
Resolution number 15, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster is proposing to adopt regulations impacting the municipality's land use plan, specifically Section 475D, 9D, and Section 438H and 8, and whereas Town Board of the Town of Lancaster must comply with the seeker and its implementing regulations, 6 New York CRR, part of 617.4B1 in the review of the action, and whereas the Town Board is an involved agency pursuant to seeker, and whereas the Town Board has determined that the action is a Type 1 action under seeker requiring a coordinated review, and whereas the Town Board intends to serve as lead agency for the coordinated seeker review of the action, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that number 1, the action is hereby determined to be a Type 1 action under seeker. 2, the Town Board hereby declares its intent to act as lead agency pursuant to seeker and for the purpose of conducting the environmental review of the action. 3, the Town Board hereby directs the Town Attorney to send a notice of intent to act as lead agency to the other involved interested agencies pursuant to seeker. 4, this resolution shall be effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 16. This resolves the following completed street lighting public improvement within the Autumn Woods Phase 1 subdivision, being hereby approved and accepted by the Town of Lancaster. It's PIP number 816 streetlights, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be directed by the town engineer to the New York State Electric and Gas Corporation with the request to energize the streetlights herein. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes.
Number 17,
I think
resolution.
17 is mine. It's
Okay, yes.
mine there, but it's wrong on the agenda.
Yeah, I was wondering why.
Yeah, yeah, so we'll make that correction and I'll. So I'd like to move resolution number 17. Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby awards the bid for the Consolidated Water District Water System Improvements, contract number TLN-14 Erie Street, which will include replacing 7 existing hydrants, to Sergi Construction, 775 Jewett Homewood Road, East Aurora, in the amount of $1,123,170, being the lowest responsible bidder in conformance with the specs on file in the office of William & Shutt. And be it further resolved, the supervisor is authorized to execute the contract upon receipt and approval of the required documents and insurance certificates by the town attorney's office. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazer, you close out with number 8 to 1.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas Lucas James has hereto submitted an application for an approval of a minor subdivision off of 5550 William Street, which included a survey dated June 6, 2022, and a drainage and plot plan dated January 4, 2021. The final revision date of June 7, 2022, and received June 28, 2022, prepared by Paul G. Pagano, PLS, that identified as Lucas James parcel located on William Street in the town of Lancaster, and whereas the planning board called for and noticed and held a public hearing on the proposed minor subdivision on August 3, 2022, where all interested parties were allowed to be heard, and whereas the planning board completed environmental review on September 7, 2022, in conformance with seeker regulations, and the town board acting as lead agency issued a negative declaration on October 3rd, 2022. And whereas the minor subdivision plan was submitted to the planning board and was recommended for approval at their October 17, 2022 special meeting. And whereas the town board of the town of Lancaster has duly reviewed and considered the proposed minor subdivision, now therefore be resolved as follows. Number 1, town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves the proposed minor subdivision, which included a survey dated June 6, a drainage and plot plan dated January 24th, 2021, and a final revision date of June 7th, 2022, received on June 28th, 2022, prepared by Paul Pagano, PLS, and to be identified as Lucas James parcel located at William Street, SBL number 116.00-2-70, with the following conditions. A, 7 copies of the filed and survey and proof of the filing are to be delivered to the town clerk's office. B, all conditions and monitoring periods referenced in the New York State DEC consent order be satisfied. And 2, that the town clerk be and is hereby directed to properly endorse the approval of the town board of the town of Lancaster on the copy of the deed and survey, and to attend to the filing of the new lot created in the Erie County Clerk's office.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'm going to ask for suspension of the rules for the suspended resolution.
Motion, do you need a motion for that? Motion to suspend the rules?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. So this becomes 19, right?
Yes.
I'd like to move on to number 19. Now therefore be it resolved, the supervisor or his designated representative of the town of Lancaster is hereby authorized and directed to sign and submit the application and accept funds from the Erie County Community Development Program, Community Development Block Grant, in an amount not to exceed $150,000, and to execute a project agreement with Erie County for such financial assistance to install an electric partition wall and freezer for the senior center. And be it further resolved that upon approval of the application, the town will make available a minimum of $7,683.40 in matching funds from the town's senior center operating budget. It is understood that matching funds are not required to satisfy the requirements of the funding program. However, if funds are needed beyond the aforementioned amount to complete the project, additional funds will be made available from the town's senior center operating budget. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Good. We're going to move on to our communications. 662 through 670 received and filed. 671 and 672 a resolution tonight. 673 and 674 and 675 received and filed. 676 is town attorney. 677 is planning committee. 678, received and filed. 679 through 681, resolution tonight. 682, Planning Committee. 683 and 84, resolution tonight. And 685 through 689, received and filed. 690 and 691, Planning Committee. Okay, we come to the point of our meeting where anybody can speak upon anything that's near and dear to their heart. You come up, give your name and address, and you have 5 minutes to make a statement or comment. Anybody like to speak?
My name is Michael Saprinsky, CZUPRYNSKI. I live at 172 Seaber Road. And I was just wanting to inquire about the status of the retention pond lot on Rue Madeline.
So I did get your email, and I did forward it on.
Pardon?
I did get your email, or somebody's email regarding that. I did forward it on to our highway superintendent. And
Well, I talked to Burke. He's the developer we had when we built the subdivision, and the lot's in his name. I own the property right behind it, the 7.5 acres of wetlands. And he told me that it was up for foreclosure or something.
If I might report, the tax auction for tax foreclosure was conducted on October 6th. I'm going to be meeting with the land bank for the update of that foreclosure sale. It's basically taken for back taxes, and then it's currently in transition to be deeded to the town so they can maintain and operate the facility as it was originally intended.
Do I still need a permission slip then to access my property through that?
There will
If it's
be no
not-
access through your property to that pond.
No, from me through it to... In order for me to clean out so the creek is cleaned out, I was bringing the branches and stuff to the street for the town to pick up. Do I need to take that from the 1,500 feet to the front of my property, or will I still be able to clean up through the retention pond?
I think I'd have to direct you to the highway superintendent and the town attorney to make that arrangement.
I would need to, because right now I carry a permission slip from Burke that I have access through that property, because I've been stopped quite a few times. In fact, I used to cut the grass on that pond, but I got assaulted by one of the neighbors, so I stopped. But I just want to know if I can still use that as access to that.
Again, I would direct your conversation to the town attorney's office and highway superintendent.
I didn't know that it was up for foreclosure. That's why I sent you the email, because somebody had dumped a whole bunch of sod and stuff in there, and I didn't know if I should clean it up or what, so I got in contact with Burke. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Just for this board's information, I did have a conversation with the chief of police regarding the illegal dumping on that facility, so when we do take ownership of it, we can follow up with any illegal dumping on any of these stormwater facilities.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak?
Greg Soiga, 19 Spruceland Terrace. I'm hearing a lot of concerns over the dog control kennel and the activities of the dog control. How many dogs are being housed at the dog kennel right now for the town?
I don't know the answer to that.
10.
I don't know the answer. You have to contact James.
10.
Oh, 10?
Yeah, so it doesn't seem that it's vacant. It seems that it's being used, and they definitely need the help with the dog control. Thank you.
How many was 8 of them are seized? 6. That's 6 of them that seized. Yeah, 6 of those dogs were from that one incident that we had, that were seized.
That was the one that was in court. I was at that court meeting
Right.
in there.
And that's again, that's kind of an anomaly to have that many dogs there. Anybody else like to speak? Okay.
If I could just quickly mention, we have legislator Frank Dodaro in the back, and he was kind enough to come to the town, as usual, to go to the Youth Bureau earlier today to take a look at some issues out there and potentially look for some type of county funding if possible. So thank you, Legislator Dodaro.
We also have a representative from Senator Galvin's office, Karen Howard. Thank you for attending. So, okay, with that, we're going to ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go in an executive session.
And may I have a second? Second. On the roll.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Baser?
Yes.
Supervisor?
Yes. Thank you for showing up, everybody. Have a great night.
Yeah.
And go Bills.
Paperwork, contracts, and stuff in order.
That's what I
Whether or not you can do anything this year. So you're good? Things you can. Weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. If not,